Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are on to episode 13, Agua Mala, which translates as bad water. I've done research, Brian. Just saying.
Did you do that about 2 minutes ago?
No, it was at least 5. Anyway,
Right,
moving quickly on, we have a Monster of the Week episode after our two-part mythology episode, which was really kind of heavy for X-Files fans. So we're going to do something a little bit lighter. And you said this one was rather boring going into it, yeah?
That was my memory of it. Yeah, my memory was just like because forgettable. I guess is what I would say about it, based on memory. Because I literally couldn't
I
remember
can
right
relate
much
to
about
that,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. That's for most things. So
Yes.
no, we're not talking about your life as a whole, Graham. We're trying to talk about the X-Files. No. Yeah. Now, if you recall, Arthur Dales, follow-on
Travellers.
character
I
from
loved
from
Travellers. Yeah.
Yeah, we both really liked Travellers. Now, as it turned out, X-Files fandom did not. No, the question is that because Mulder and Scully weren't in it? But yeah, we get I wouldn't call this a sequel to Travellers, but a return of the character that was established in Travellers. Does it fare any better? Where do you think it sits amongst 217 episodes?
Oh, now this is what I go by, a good old standard Monster of the Week kind of title. And those can be really up or down depending on how the fans are feeling. It's not as fun as some of the other episodes in this series. It's a little bit of I'd say a playful one, and one that you could easily miss and miss nothing in the grander series. I think it's going to be middle of the road somewhere. Let's go for 101.
So, as it turns out, X-Files fans, at least the IMDb ones, actually preferred Travellers over this one.
Wow.
Just by a few places. So this is at 152.
Right, okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
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 So
Okay.
scraping the bottom of the barrel almost. It's getting there.
Getting there. It's in the
Mm.
like bottom quarter kind of.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
That's okay.
Mm.
Right. All right
Okay.
then. Question is, do we agree? Because we certainly didn't agree with Travellers. So do we agree with this one? Agua Mala. Right. We start in a Florida hurricane. So we're in Florida, the hurricane bashing some woman's house to bits. She's like knee deep in water with a son. They're basically trying to batten things down, and then this weird kind of bubbles start coming up through the drain. The mum seems to be a bit freaked out by this, and more than one might assume they would be. And she decides they're going to pour they're going to try and flip the washing machine over onto this grate. But as they attempt to do that, the son gets a weird tentacle thing wrapped around his neck. She starts shouting at it to get off him. What that's going to do, I don't know. Yeah. But she has a go at trying to pull it off. But then one comes up out of the drain, grabs her leg, and pulls her away. And that's it. It's the last we see of mum and son. Opening credits.
Yeah, I'm in. I am in. Everything about this screams Graham. It's just that rain-soaked Florida city look reminded me a bit of a little bit like Crawl. You know, that kind of start to that movie in the basement reading about the tentacles instantly put me in Deep Rising idea. So I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm like, bring it on. Everything's great.
I'm okay with this as an opening, but the constant setting of run-down looking buildings and rain, grey skies, gets really dreary really fast. And I'll just say that. But yeah, anyway, after the opening credits, Mulder's answer machine gets a call from Arthur Dales telling him to get to Florida. And he kind of throws a little dig in there at Mulder, almost as a let's just see how much of an X-Files man you are, like if you were any kind of X-Files specialist, you would already be on your way to Florida. Well, we hear that message on the machine, and as it turns out, Mulder and Scully are seemingly already on the way to Florida. But they go to see Dales anyway. Dales is listening to a report on the radio when Mulder and Scully show up. Dales tells them about his friends that live nearby called the Shipleys, and the mother, last time he spoke to her, had reported of tentacles taking her husband, which obviously got laughed out the room by the local PD. And now she and her son are missing. So he's concerned. Scully kind of sneers. He's a bit like, "Oh, we're back on the X-Files. And we're here in the middle of a hurricane looking for missing persons because of tentacle monsters." Obviously, given the circumstances, it's very conceivable that they could have just been caught up in the hurricane. But no, tentacle monsters.
Yeah. Again, like seeing Dales come back was pure joy for me. Like I love this character in Travelers.
Yeah.
I was so happy to see him back again. I am hoping this is not the last we see of him, because I think he deserves to be in it more. I love even just the interplay in this sequence between the three of these people, because Dales is almost like, "Fox, what is this? What is this person you've brought with me? like this is a woman FBI agent? Like, what are you playing at?" Which I kind of liked, and just it was just fun. Like as this episode has started, I feel it started really strongly. I'm liking the interplay. I'm liking the situation. I'm liking the monster of the week. It's just it's what I enjoy.
Okay. Mulder and Scully get into the Shipley's home. It's boarded up from the inside, Mulder observes. He touches goo again. What?
Yep.
What? People insist on touching goo. And
there's some kind of strange abrasive substance. Like, that's just. Look.
I mean,
I'm almost expecting him rubbing his face in it at some point.
I think he touches it and then he pulls his hand away and it just goes on and on forever. It's like they really overdo it, or just how goopy this stuff is. But it just, as soon as I saw that, I instantly thought of you, and I just knew that if I didn't comment on it, you would. It's like, why the hell are you touching goo again? So
it's just disgusting.
They get a bit of a cat scare, so we're into horror movie tropes here. We have the washing machine lid kind of, and like they kind of move towards it with a stick, and it's the cat. So it's the very tropey, seen it 100,000 times before, cat scare, jump scare, horror movie. So, they get interrupted by, I'm going to call him Sheriff Incompetence, or Deputy Sheriff Incompetence. This guy.
I think you're rating him too highly, but okay, I'll go with that.
This is like the most incompetent deputy sheriff I think I've ever seen on the show. He comes in, finds Mulder and Scully, tells them to raise their hands, and they're trying to tell him that they're FBI agents, and he's just like, yeah, all the weirdos come down from Florida, and he's like, he's not buying it. He's just like, he's trying to radio in for backup and stuff, and he's just thinking, oh man, alive, just let them show you the frigging ID, will you? So just tell
Yeah.
them to do it slowly, like they do in all the movies. But yeah, just stubborn refusal to believe it. So Mulder quickly takes the guy's gun off him, which doesn't seem very Mulder-like to me.
Well, it does. It does, because it underlines how incompetent this sheriff is. That Mulder, even Mulder can take his gun.
Yeah. So Mulder takes his gun, and the guy basically, obviously sees their ID and then wakes up. They find nothing. Scully goes out to the car, and Sheriff and Mulder have another look around. They don't find anything. So Mulder goes back to the car, and Scully suggests that they just leave. They've done their due diligence. They've done, they've done their good deed for the day, like everything that they can. The family's clearly not there. Let's just get the hell out of here, because this is bogus. Mulder says that they should at least tell Dales that they're giving up. In that much. So while they're out talking and deciding to do one, the deputy sheriff, finds Shipley's jersey in the drain pipe. And it's one of those situations where it's like, dude, why are you putting your arm into the drain pipe? It's like, come on. Even without reports of monsters on the loose, this is the last thing you're going to do in a hurricane. Because if your arm gets stuck in a drain pipe in the basement during a hurricane and the water starts filling the place up, it's just like, come on. This guy.
Yeah, but it's a comforting trope. It knows what it's doing. It's a frustration element. Like, it's there to annoy the viewer, and it's working, because you're just like, why are you doing that? It's the same thing when, like, somebody's in a house alone and they hear a noise. They're like, who's there? You're just like,
and also it's a red herring, because he's going to get his arm taken, but he doesn't. He just finds a jersey, and it's like, oh, right, okay. So it's a red herring. It's a bluff. So Mulder and Scully get turned around by a roadblock in which it seems all the police in this town are somewhat incompetent, or at least come across that way. I mean, in all fairness, this guy kind of has a point. You've come out to this town in the middle of a hurricane. What the hell do you expect? It's like, we blocked the road off for obvious reasons. I can't let you through for obvious reasons, and it's kind of your fault. So, but he makes the same remark that the other sheriff guy made about all the crazies coming down to Florida, and it kind of becomes a bit of a theme throughout the episode. So the sheriff stops to help at some condos that are without power, and he has a stowaway cat on board. So I don't know where this cat's gone, but it seems to just come out from the bottom of the car.
Just cats being cats, bro.
Just, I mean, it was very, very, what's the word? Convenient. Very convenient.
Like, this cat, it obviously loves machinery. It was in the sort of, like, washer, dryer, whatever it was in, and now it's in the car. Just
it's a pattern of behaviour.
Yeah.
He knocks on all the condo doors and finds one of them open. And inside, he finds a body on the toilet, covered in some kind of weird see-through like goo that seems to have essentially eaten the body. Like, it's like a weird transparent kind of body shape, but almost a bit like the what the aliens do to people's bodies in the film. It's kind of made them all
It's
translucent
very
and
much
stuff.
like the Blob, in
Hmm.
the 1988 version. Um,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I love the idea of this. Like on the toilet, no one can hear you scream. He's just this guy's been like having a quiet moment to himself, and then all of a sudden attacked and kind of dissolved. I think it's a great effect.
Straining one out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah, he buys the body. It's covered in something. He does what all sensible people do and starts poking it, and looking in the
mm,
holes and stuff, getting closer to something that moves when it would just literally make you jump back about 20 feet and get leg in it. Instead, he's like, oh, what's that moving? As you do.
yeah.
And then a tentacle jumps out, grabs him, and it's like, he's a goner. He's a goner.
Hmm.
So Mulder and Scully are lost. They're just kind of driving in the rain. You can't see Jack. They're talking about the merits of staying and stuff. Mulder says that one day they'll laugh about all this, Scully. One day we'll look back on all this and we'll laugh. And Scully just
Mm.
doesn't look impressed at all. And then they rock up right outside the same condos.
The
Again,
condos.
convenient, but whatever. They just
Mm.
happen to arrive at the same place that the sheriff went up to. They see his car outside, so that's kind of why they pull over, really. And they go
Yeah,
in. So they end up at the condos and they find sheriff's car. And Mulder finds a watch in the toilet. So they go in, they find the sheriff on the floor with all these grisly looking marks on his neck, which, gotta say, looks disgusting. Looks absolutely
yeah,
disgusting. Kind of reminds me of this frog that lays, it literally grows its babies in its back, and then the babies hatch out of its
right.
back. That's a genuine thing. Look it up. It's disgusting. I saw it once on a wildlife thing, and it just made me want to vomit. So basically, all these frogs hatch out
Mm.
of his back, and the flipping frog's just left with all these craters in its back. It's just
Mm.
so disgusting. But it looks very much like,
If you can just,
yeah,
y- yeah, if you can just harken back to the earlier episode with the ooze, Mulder walks in, sees something in a toilet, and goes, "I'm grabbing that. I am grabbing that watch out of that toilet." Just
yeah,
like,
yeah. It
please
makes sense.
stop touching stuff that's in places. And
And
it does a funny little joke about passing time.
yeah, passing
As
the time. Yeah, because I've heard of passing the time, but yeesh.
yeah,
Yeah, it's basically all so they could just tell that joke. It's like, right.
pretty much.
Scully puts a hole in the sheriff to help him breathe. Basically, does the old hole in the neck trick. Then calls for a medivac.
Tracheotomy. Yeah.
Tracheotomy, yeah. Dales sits by his radio. He's listening in, so he hears Scully's dispatch kind of call. Here's a kind of phone in for the going over what's happening. So he's listening in on everything that's happening. Mulder finds a man stealing a TV. I recognize this guy. I have no idea where
Yes.
from, but he is definitely
He's
famous.
he's in everything. Probably remember him most from Prison Break.
Right.
He was the kind of crazy guy, the gang that break out. He's in
Yes,
loads of
yes.
stuff, Brian.
Yeah, no, I've said he may have even been in Buffy. I don't know. I might have recently seen him in Buffy,
Everybody
but
was in Buffy. Like,
yeah. but I've definitely seen him, and I've seen him in some movies. I'm sure I have. And
oh yeah,
yeah, so basically, he's stealing a TV. He's coming out of his room with a, and it's not like a modern flat screen thing. This is like your old style, huge box. It's
yeah.
like the
It's
only
an
thing you can
effort to
carry.
lift this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Especially in the middle of a hurricane. So then a guy called Walter comes out of his apartment as Mulder's questioning the TV stealing guy. And Walter says that his wife, him and his wife haven't left because his wife's pregnant. So basically, we're now getting loads of characters. Just it's becoming that episode where you take a bunch of characters, you leave them stranded in an isolated location with a monster.
Mhm.
You know, it's the thing. It's the episode Ice, but in season 6, and my money not as good.
But I feel as if all the characters are exaggerated here. You know, like the
Yes.
cop's like a big doofus.
Um,
The pregnant woman who should be sympathetic is a bully. Like the
yeah.
husband's like put upon.
Yeah.
They're all kind of exaggerated characteristics.
Yeah. Big time. So Mulder talks to Scully. Oh, sorry. We see. We go upstairs first because
Mhm.
I can't. Is it? I think is it. Is it the guy upstairs that's called Walter? I think I may have called
No, that's
the
George.
George. Okay, right.
Hmm.
So the one who's all tooled up with the guns, he's George.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Either way, there's a
Walter
really
is
tooled up
Walter's the
pregnant
he's the
wife.
timid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So
Hmm.
either way, there's a guy upstairs who's tooled up to the nines, refuses to come out, has his door locked, and just looks like one of these David Koresh kind of types
Yeah.
where, yeah, barricades
I knew this
himself
day
in
would
with
come.
weapons.
Type of person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's waiting for the end times. Um,
Yeah.
so Mulder can't get him to come out of his apartment. The guy ain't listening to reason. So he goes back to talk to Scully and says that they need to get out of there. Scully says, fat chance, there's no way they're moving this guy, the sheriff guy, because he's too ill. The hurricane ain't going to allow it. They're not even going to send them a medevac because the conditions are too dangerous. So they're basically on their own. Meanwhile, George, if that's his name, tooled up guy, looks on while a tentacle moves in his lighting fixture. It just looks pretty gross. You see it kind of just slither out and goes, yeah. It does remind me of the worm from Ice, season 1, episode Ice,
Yeah.
but much larger. So
Hmm.
Scully pulls a worm. Oh, this is disgusting. So for anyone watching on YouTube
Yes.
who isn't listening, if you look at that image behind us, that Mulder there with all the marks on his neck, that's what the sheriff has on his neck. And Scully pulls a worm out of one of the holes. And this is why it reminded me of that frog that I was talking about. Just about that. Oh, yeah. It makes me want to vomit. It's disgusting. And surprisingly, this isn't directed by Kim Manners. It's directed by Rob Bowman. So this is generally the kind of episode they give to Kim Manners because he loves all the gore stuff and all the icky kind of stuff. But yeah, so she pulls a worm out of the sheriff's neck, gets him into a cold bath. They hear gunshots, which is tooled up guy upstairs shooting at his lighting fixture. And he comes out and tells them what he saw. Scully tries to calm everyone down. So we now have all of our main characters in the same place. And they all know essentially what they're up against, except for Scully, who's kind of like, hang on, let's not jump the gun, even though I have just pulled a worm out of some guy's neck. She's just trying to calm him down, basically. But I do think at this point she has accepted that a parasite is involved.
Yeah, there's something happening here.
Ooh. So Looterman, while everyone's in the next room kind of chatting all this through, the Looterman is stealing the sheriff's watch.
And his ring, trying to get his ring off his finger is so
his watch,
funny.
sorry, his ring, yeah, that's what he's trying. He's there, he's like lubing him up with the soap, trying to pull this thing off.
Yeah.
He's like, I couldn't get the
Oh,
TV,
really
but I am leaving this place with something. Yes. So, yeah, he takes the ring, and the pregnant lady decides to go to the toilet. And and there is a worm all over the sheriff. That's my note. Can't
Yeah,
quite
she
remember
goes to the
exactly how
bathroom
that
and she
plays out. Yeah,
screams. She
yeah.
screams that the tentacle monster's got the sheriff, and then they all run
Oh,
in.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. So Mulder and Scully argue over what the organism might be. The pregnant lady runs out screaming, but when Mulder comes in, he finds the sheriff gone and suggests he turned to water and went down the drain because they find his clothes. His clothes are still in the bathtub, but the sheriff guy is gone. So Mulder's like, what if these creatures have literally turned the sheriff into water? And that's why people keep disappearing. They get attacked. This parasite turns them into water and then ta-da, disappearing act,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is
I'm
interesting.
calling that crap. Like, it really is. Like, I'm not buying that. Not buying it at all. Like,
Right.
there's no way something's turning the whole body into water. Like everything. I know the body's like 70% water. Fair enough. But there should be like some skeletal remains or something.
And then you liquefy it. I don't know. Yeah.
And
They
it's probably, I think
realize
it's the way that Duchovny delivers that line as well. That it's almost like it's not.
like even he doesn't believe
What if
it.
they're not in water? What if they're not in water? What if they are water? I'm like, bullshit, bullshit. No.
So they realize that Luterman is missing. And that's pretty much the last we
Yeah.
see of him. So he got away with the ring, essentially. Gone. That's it. It's like if anyone was gonna like if you're looking at your typical horror setup, you get your bunch of characters together, you've got all your stereo kind of type characters. But this is the most stereotypical character because he's your grade A douchebag. He's the one who's there
Yeah.
just stealing stuff, doesn't really care about anyone. He is the first to go, traditionally, or at least at some
Hmm.
point he is gonna
Yeah.
go. He's gonna get it. But he doesn't. Scarpa's with the ring. That's the last we see of him. Dude's gone. So yeah, breaking convention there, but whatever. Mulder goes to find him and gets attacked. And that's when the military man locks him out. Scully's all like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, it's my partner. And like he's all again gun in the face, so there's not much he can do. Mulder is on his own.
Hmm.
Um Angela, who is the pregnant lady, starts to have the baby. Waters break and she's there having the baby. Scully basically says, yep, this is my first delivery. Let's get on with it. So she's never delivered a baby before. So this is her first.
Yeah.
So they get on with trying to have a baby. And as Scully's trying to deliver this baby, she sees one of the little worm things come through the light in the ceiling again, a bit like what happened upstairs. So this thing's just making its way down the apartment block through
Yeah.
the lighting fixtures. So Mulder finds the cat. So basically, he's been attacked,
Yeah.
crawling down the corridor, and he gets to like the door area, and in almost like a Pet Cemetery looking cat is just this scraggly looking thing, looks a bit windswept, like a drowned rat, just sitting there
Yeah.
staring at him
Really does.
like, oh yeah, just minding my own, as you do. Back to the pregnancy, the birth. The squid attacks the gun guy while Scully continues to deliver the baby. And the father of the child he kind of grabs the gun and Scully's like, shoot the sprinkler system. She has this like something dawns on her. Kind of like, what's the deal? What's she kind of I'm kind of thinking that she's thinking, oh, the parasite is in the water. So then she tells the guy to shoot out the sprinkler system. So then you're like, well, if it's in the water, why are you shooting out the sprinkler system? So anyway,
She
he
says something.
shoots.
She's as she's giving birth. She's got a tub of water next to her, and she does something and says, "It's the water." And
Yeah, well,
I
she
don't know
puts
if
her
I missed
hands in the
something there.
water. She puts her hands in the water, didn't she? And then she says,
Yeah.
"It's the water. It's the water." So like, I
Yeah.
was thinking that, you finally cottoning on to the fact that the parasite is in the water, lives in the water. But then she tells him to shoot out the sprinkler system. So I'm like, okay. So he shoots and it cuts to black. So it's like, oh, did he get it? Did he not get it? It's a bit unsatisfying, to be honest, that we don't see
Mm.
what actually happens. It's just, yeah, we're not going to show
Yeah.
you. We're just going to cut to black. And then we're in that whole, we actually didn't have the time to show you everything. So we're just going to wrap it up really quickly and jump ahead and show you that, oh, everyone's all right. And we're going to wrap it up essentially with a line of dialogue. But so basically, Mulder and Scully are with Dales. They're basically telling him what went on. And Dales is all really impressed with Scully. He's like, "Oh, if I had a partner like her back in my days, I'd never left the X-Files." And basically bigging up Scully as you should, and saying that Mulder owes her his life. But Mulder's like, no, I figured it out myself because because of the cat. Yes, the cat was out in the rain. And I realized because it was all right in the rain and fresh water, the thing can't survive in fresh water. This whole thing is bollocks, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
This whole wrap up, complete bollocks, because that wouldn't be my go-to assumption that just because the cat is alive outside, then the fresh rainwater. That seriously, I mean, that's a big leap. That is a seriously big leap. And then you've got Scully who says, "We'll shoot out the sprinklers because that's fresh water."
Yeah.
Okay. Personally, I thought sprinkler systems were channeled through pipes, but I don't know. I assumed it came through the plumbing.
It's not salt. It's not salt water.
Well, yeah, it's not salt water. But okay, so that's the difference. It survives but like the whole cat thing, I call BS on that because I just don't think a cat is going to be stupid enough to hang around when there's some tentacled organism kind of, it's off. So to make that assumption that, oh, the cat's still alive outside, oh, fresh water, it will save me. I call BS on that one big time. But yeah, that was it basically. They realized fresh water kills the organism. It can only survive in salt water, and that's how they wrapped it up. Dale's compliments Scully and how awesome she is, and then that's it. And they leave. But yeah, that's it. Wrap up.
Do you want to wrap up?
Yeah, you want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's got a good setup. I think it's got a good monster. I think they spend way too much time getting this group of characters together, only to do nothing with them. What this feels like to me is the first half of a movie, and then they ran out of budget. That's what it feels like. It's because you spend all that time getting the group of characters together, and that's when you get to have some fun with them and have some really nice, bloody, gruesome deaths. And we're at that point in the movie where that's going to kick off, where all the deaths are going to, and it's going to whittle them all down one by one. But then suddenly we just cut to black, and then we get told what happened in dialogue, and I'm just like, all right, the whole show don't tell just went out the window, and it's a really unsatisfying ending, like super unsatisfying ending for me personally. I still hold to the opinion that the setting is really dreary. And I get it's supposed to be. You're in a hurricane, it's constant rain, it's constant wind. But even the apartments we're in look like they should have been abandoned a long time ago, even before the hurricane came along. It's just, yeah, it's a depressing location. And if not for some humorous moments with the characters, I I can understand why I couldn't remember a lot of this, to be honest. I think there's some really good ideas in here, but it's a movie or half of a movie that gets cut off because, hey guys, in TV we're only allowed like 41, 42 minutes. Yeah. Well, we've reached that point, so end of movie. That's what it feels like to me. I'm gonna give it a 3. Give it a 3 out of
Okay.
5. Like it's not super terrible. There's entertainment to be had from it, but it's definitely not top tier monster of the week.
I loved this episode.
I thought you might.
I loved everything about it. Yeah, it just was exactly my kind of thing. Bringing Dales back was a masterstroke. I loved it. I love the kind of how he goes from really just can't understand Scully at the start to being like a super fan at the end. The gelatinous monster reminded me of Deep Rising or The Blob, which are things that I love. I love a scenario of a group of people in a building as they die, or a place, because it's an old horror trope. It's used all the time, and it is tropey, but I find it almost comforting. The rain-soaked situation didn't bother me as much. Too much again, reminded me of something else. Reminded me of Hard Rain. It just kind of had
Yeah.
all these nods to familiar beats, and it just yeah,
That's not a
pulling
film
out
you
all
want
the
to be
crap now.
reminded of. Deep cuts,
Um,
deep cuts.
but yeah, it was just fun. Do you know that one where it's like as an X Files episode, you could lose this and miss nothing from the series at all. It offers nothing. It's just a diversion, and I really kind of appreciated the diversion, especially after Two Fathers, One Son. I feel as if I needed this as an almost palate cleanser, and just as a good monster of the week, it was solid. That's all. It's not one of the best monster of the weeks, but it was just good. I enjoyed it. I had fun with the characters, and it was great to see Dale back again. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for me. So Brian,
It's just
tell
like
me a little
Mulder
bit
and
about.
Scully. Mulder and Scully. I think. I mean, it's not really stated explicitly, but I'm assuming they're back on the X Files, and this is their
Yes,
first
yes,
This is their first X Files case being back.
yeah,
And for me, it was a bit underwhelming for it being their first time
yeah.
back as the official X Files.
Hmm. But it does feel like we're back into the way things were.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
just back on cases, which again is familiar. It's good to see that sort of coming back. But tell me a little bit about Monday.
Monday, Monday, Monday. Um, I think I think we're gonna love this one. So think Groundhog Day,
Hmm.
but set around a bank robbery.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. So you got a bank robbery going
okay.
on a Monday, and it's a Groundhog Day type situation. It's
Yep.
I think we're both gonna love this one. I think it's a top tier
Okay.
X Files from what I remember. And
Mhm.
as far as I'm aware, it's probably a fan favorite, I reckon.
Good. Good. Oh, I'm looking forward to it already. I like these
Mm.
things that kind of harken, as we can tell from this episode, harken back to movies that I love. So,
Yeah,
yeah, great.
and that's what the X Files does a
So out there
lot.
in
So
YouTube world, yeah, it's what they do, and inspire films as well. We've noticed all the way as well. So for people out there in YouTube land, if you don't mind liking this video, sharing it, we'd appreciate it. On podcast world, if you want to rate and review us, we would appreciate that as well. Allow other people to discover us, which is fantastic. Gives us a little ego boost and lets us continue our journey through the X Files. We'll see you next week for Monday.